Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the Akim who are tuning to these videos. This is going to be a quick video. I just wanted to address what happened at camp last week, as we had a large string of bug outs and scoffers come up to camp and ask stupid things. They weren't really asking questions or anything like that, but they were really just scoffing and scorning. Like, you had one person come up to us saying he was the brother of Jesus. A bunch of Edomites were scoffing as they were walking by. We had a sodomite. And to top it off, we had the N-Dub just being loud as ever in front of our cameras. Now, when these events happen, which, we read in the scriptures about these scoffers and scorners that are going to come to these camps in these last days, we always have it in our mindset, the scriptures of this happening as it's playing out. And these people are basically just walking that broad gate. And men love darkness rather than light because their deeds are evil. You're seeing now the breaches of the tabernacles of David being lifted up now in these latter times. The spirit being lifted up on the hopeful elect, so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, who are the real Hebrew Israelites. And really, in the back of everyone else's mind, they either do or don't know that means that playtime is over, that this society is about to be taken out, and that this word is destroying the strongholds of it, because we're the only examples of righteousness down here. So it's only normal for them to come up against us because they hate the light. So I'm just going to read just a few precepts going into this. This is in 2 Peter 3:1, and I'll go ahead and start at the top. It says, "The second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you, in both which I stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance, that ye may be mindful of the words which were spoken before by the holy prophets, and of the commandments of use the apostles of the Lord and Savior. Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lusts." And that really speaks for itself, because these people are just vain and doing what they want to do. They're self-willed, and they're living in that do it that wilt spirit, because that's really what this society is structured upon. Satanism. They say that this country, America, was established on the Bible, but really, Esau Edom, he understands the Bible, yet he casts the instructions aside. So this devil literally is grooming these people to be anti-Hamashiachs, antichrists. And so when we're out there on the highways and hedges, and we're speaking good news, beautiful news, that like when this devil is taken out, the trees are going to sing, and the fruitfulness of everything, nature is going to be restored back to what it was before. Those are beautiful things, like how the lamb and the lion are going to be able to sit down together. The heathens shall not know war anymore. Those are all various things that are good news for the prophets and for those of the hopeful elect who have ears to hear that news. But when we say that the guy who has destroyed this world is going to be put up in chains, then there's a problem. And then they want this devil to continue to rule, continue to chop down these trees, continue to just destroy this place, because that devil is allowing these people to commit sin and iniquity. He's basically giving a license to all these people so that they can become anti-Hamashiachs. So now you got a whole bunch of bug outs walking that broad gate, as opposed to the straight and narrow, walking after their own lusts. Whatever their hearts desire in this wicked place, Babylon, they're going to fulfill it. It's everything but righteousness. So I'm going to read again from verse 3. It says, "Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lusts." And us, the prophets, we're basically like the people who are shutting down the party, because we're saying these things really cuts all these people who come across this truth, because all these people were just born in vain. They love all this wicked stuff, so that when we say that there's going to be an end to it, they have a problem with it. and then they're going to come up against us, scoff and whatever. But ultimately, you can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. This truth is so strong, and you're seeing the power that comes with it. Is that this place is literally being destroyed because of this word. So I'm gonna continue on. Actually, I'll just read this other precept in 1 Timothy, and here I'll start at 1 again. It says, "Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils." And so you even have people who were once amongst us speaking and reading with us, but then were given heed to that seducing spirit and were taken out of this straight and narrow and put back into that broad gate. And that is a very fearful thing. But that's going to happen. That's going to take place, and we've already seen it take place. And so those people, 9 times out of 10, they don't go into obscurity in the world and do whatever the heck they were doing before they came across this truth. They're going to be 100% against this truth. I'm not going to list all these other bug outs on YouTube who basically are saying that the GMS ministry or a various ministry like ISUPK were wrongfully practicing certain things or whatever. You're going to see that amongst these scoffers who are giving heed to seducing spirits. You're going to see them try to slow down and hinder the building process of the third temple. So I'm going to continue on from verse 2. It says, "Speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron." And verse 3, it says, "Forbidding to marry and commanding to abstain from meats, which the Most High had created to receive with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth." So these people are going to be just making up anything and everything to come up against us. But really, the main precept here is in verse 1, that these people are really just giving heed to seducing spirits, speaking lies and hypocrisy, because we're speaking the truth. And you can see that these people, especially the elites, they're afraid of this truth, that they're seeing that the elect are standing on their feet, and now the great fear is upon them because they know that this place is about to end. And we're just the messengers. And with all the things that are happening in the news, then you're going to see that a prophet had been among you, because we're speaking all these things into existence pretty much. And so I'm going to read this also in Jude. Let me see. It's one chapter, but I'll start at verse 16. It says, "These are murmurers, complainers, walking after their own lusts, and their mouth speaketh great swelling words, having men's persons in admiration because of advantage." And I'm going to just continue on. It says, "But beloved, remember ye the words which were spoken before of the apostles of the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, how that they told you there should be mockers in the last time, who should walk after their own ungodly lusts. These be they who separate themselves, sensual, having not the Spirit." And so there's basically people just walking like zombies in these times, because just as the times of Noah, which I'm going to get that right here in Matthew 24, these people just love wickedness, and they don't want this party, this wicked society to stop. So this is in Matthew 24, and I'll start at verse 37. It says, "But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." And Yahushua is going to come like a thief in the night. He's going to be caught off guard with all these people. They're going to be into whatever the society has to offer once that chip is revealed, and they're going to want to partake in it. So they're going to take that chip. So they're going to be partakers of this society. And so continuing on verse 38, it says, "For as the days were," it's like it says, "For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving into marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark." And so during Jacob's trouble, when these people have the MOTB, there's going to have certain pockets of functioning society down here on earth. While all this turmoil and chaos and war is happening, these people are still going to deny Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. And we're not going to be on the highways and hedges during those times. The Spirit is going to make us as pilgrims and shut up our mouths. lest we try to speak, our tongue is going to cleave to our roof. Because right now, this is the time where you should hear this word so you can get out of the world, so that you're not one of these scoffers or caught in the death of these scoffers that they're about a taste of. This is the time where you're supposed to be baptized by the word. But to the 2/3, they're going to either come across this truth and then disregard it to continue doing whatever wickedness that they were doing. So from verse 38 again, it says, "For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." So it's going to be very similar to the times of Noah. These people are going to be out there, and then Yahushua is going to return to shut down the party. And that's why when we're ringing this bell, sounding the alarm, blowing the trumpet in Zion, we emphasize this. Don't be like these scoffers and scorners who are basically marking themselves, who are causing derision amongst the ministry. Because just like in Ezekiel 9, it speaks about how an angel is putting a mark on these people, a mark of exemption. Hebrew word there is thawa, for those who sigh and cry for the abominations that are done down here on the earth, and to those who are basically partakers of this place. Those people are going to be marked for judgment. And that's basically what's happening whenever a scoffer or scorner comes and does their little bit, they say their little speech or ask their bogus, stupid question. Because they're really not coming to fellowship with us. They're coming to try to hinder this establishment down, which is not going to work. You're pretty much happily fighting against the Most High by doing that. But I'm going to read this here in Proverbs 1. Because those things happen. We still take a joy, because we know and understand that is just the spirit and the prophecy happening and unfolding. But to those who have ears to hear, for Yahushua's sheep to come into the flock, don't be dismayed by those things, because that's going to take place. But really worry about yourself. Worry about getting this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding now, while this time is short, while this truth may be found. Because there's going to be a famine of the word where you're not going to be able to be baptized and cleansed by this word, but basically stuck in condemnation. So I'm going to read this last chapter in Proverbs 1. And let me see. I'll start at just a little bit down here. I'll start at verse 20. It says, "Wisdom crieth without, she uttereth her voice in the streets. She crieth in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city she uttereth her words, saying, How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and the fools hate knowledge. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. Because I have called, and you refused. I have stretched out my hand, and no man regarded. But ye have set at naught all my counsel, and would none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh." Because really, if you're not under the secret place of the Most High and the covering cast, and having this truth, you're going to be out there basically without a paddle. And so Yahweh by Shem Yahushai is going to send these plagues onto you, because you are not of his. You are against him. And so for that, you're going to get these judgments. So from verse 26 says, "I will also laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh." And Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is going to laugh through his prophets, because we're going to be here front and center watching all these bug outs who basically came up against this truth or have disregarded it all this time, and rather to give into their carnal lusts and be a partaker of this society. We're going to laugh at their calamity. And when all of these things come to place, then they're going to know that a prophet have been among them. So from verse 26 again, it says, "I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh, and desolation and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me, for that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. And that's pretty much pointing to the point right there, because these people, they're partying right now, but once the rain starts to fall, once the judgment starts to happen, then they're going to change their tune. But really, you should be changing your tune now. Wisdom crieth without right now, the chief place of concourse. Get with all that getting, get understanding now, before the end of the world happens, before Yahushua returns. But with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakadash, Shalom Akim.